Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode on the podcast. Today is like an IBD special episode, so it's going to be really cool because IBD Day is a very special day for everyone impacted in the IBD world. But today is going to be Jade will be sharing her story with Crohn's today, and we're going to be speaking about Crohn's, IBD, and everything like that. So, Jade, it's great to have you on the podcast today. Would you mind just introducing yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, my name's Jade. I'm 30 years old. I currently work in insurance and I've had Crohn's disease for the past 9 years. And very recently, within the past 2 months, because of my Crohn's, I've had to get an ileostomy. So I'm now permanently living with a stoma. But I must say, in the past 2 months already, it's changed my life for the better. So hopefully,
Oh,
on to
it's
better
not.
things now.
It's not long, is it? 2 months.
No, not long
Yeah,
at all, but very much needed and probably overdue as well.
yeah. So is that your first time you've had one of them before?
I did have a temporary stoma back in 2018. It was quite dramatic, really. I just had my first child, and 2 weeks after she was born, I was rushed into hospital as an emergency to have part of my bowel removed and a stoma formed. Um, just because when I was pregnant, my Crohn's did not like it whatsoever. I was constantly in and out of hospital, and yeah, so I had a newborn for the very first time and a stoma for the very first time. So I had that for 6 months and then it was reversed in 2019. So I have had one before, um, but it was chaotic when I had it the first time.
Yeah, I guess it would have been chaotic, but I guess you have some
Hmm.
experience from having one, but before.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So before, like you have one now. So is that permanent? The one you have now?
Yeah, I was kind of given the decision, well, sorry, the option of I could wait a little bit longer or it could be done. It was a pan-proctal colectomy, which I finally memorized how to say after months. And my surgeon was so kind. He was like, "We can wait another year if you want, but you're probably going to be in and out of hospital. You're probably going to be in lots of pain. And I have 2 small children, and it was so debilitating with my Crohn's with them that I just thought, the age that I'm at now, my children are still young. I don't want to spend the next year or 10 years in and out of hospital trying new medications. If this is going to give me some relief, then let's just do it." So my surgeon was like, "That's absolutely fine. We'll book you in," and got rid of my whole large bowel and yeah, permanent stoma. And honestly, best decision. So like best decision I've ever made. Really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. If it helps, if it you don't get any pain now and stuff like that, it's for the better.
Hmm. That's absolutely it. Yeah. I think it was the anxiety as well, like the mental side of it, which I didn't really think much of at the start of when I had Crohn's about 10 years ago. Um, it was kind of just something that I just trudged on with. And then it was more so when I had my children that I was constantly panicking, thinking, "Oh, if I do this with them, is my Crohn's going to affect me? Like, what if I need to go to the toilet and I'm on the school run, or I'm driving in the car and the kids are with me?" And it was more that, and it was more the anxiety probably got worse over the past couple of years. Um, so when the surgeon said, "We can probably hold off surgery if you want, but if you feel like it's best for you, then we can do it." I was like, "Let's just do it because I'm struggling enough as it is. I don't need to struggle anymore if I can be avoided."
Yeah. If you've tried all the possible outcomes there is, um,
Yeah,
and then there's nothing else for them to do.
exactly. Yeah, I'd been on so much medication, and I've been on quite powerful medication for a number of years, and my doctors were like, "It's probably best we give your body a rest for a bit after this surgery."
Mm.
So I think it was the right decision. It just all in all, I could have continued, but I'm glad I didn't. Glad I just got the surgery.
Yeah, that's the annoyance of being on these all like medications because how it
Mhm.
dampens your immune system down and how
Yeah.
powerful the drugs are, um, and it is annoying to be on that medication. But so does that mean you're not on the medication now? You're just on you just have the stoma.
So yeah, I'm not on any medication at the moment. I'm on folic acid tablets, just for the time being. Um, but I've got an appointment next month with my consultant, and it was kind of suggested with my surgeon last week that I'm going to go on some medication just to keep the Crohn's at bay for as long as we can. So I'm going to be on something, but hopefully it's not as powerful as what it has been. So
Yeah,
that's a good a good sign.
yeah, it is good. It is good that you're doing okay now. Then
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like for my Crohn's, I'm on I had recently had a meeting with my consultant, I think last week or the week before, and it's funny because every time we see my consultant's like on the way out. Hopefully I don't see you till next year because it's yearly appointment, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't go unless something happened with my Crohn's.
Hmm.
But for me, I'm on powerful medication, have been for a while. So I take azathioprine, um,
Yeah.
Humira, so um, high dose as well. So it's annoying,
Hmm.
and if I have a ileostomy one day, it won't
Hmm.
be it'll have to be permanent.
Yeah.
Um, because of the certain because everyone has Crohn's, we're all different types, don't we? So
Yeah.
it's not all the same. So like for me, that when I got diagnosed, they said to me, you've got something called patchy pan, so that means it's one of the worst forms of Crohn's you can get, and so if I ever did have one, it'd be permanent.
Yeah.
So like maybe I'd try everything
Yeah.
until I needed that. Um, but
Yeah.
I've never had surgery because of my Crohn's as of yet, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky on that front at the moment. But um, I have had surgery for other things before I was diagnosed, but when I was a baby. But yeah, so it's hard, isn't it? When you
Yeah.
think about that, and it must be nervous having it, but at the same time, really good. So you're in a better place.
Oh, absolutely. It's night and day, completely night and day from like this time last year to now. Um, yeah, it's really already it's given my life back having this stoma. Um, so I couldn't be more happy with it how it's going at the minute.
Yeah, it must be. Well, it's great. It's great if like this time last year was rubbish. Like Crohn's was always playing up and
Oh gosh,
pain.
it was so much pain. I mean, my Crohn's has kind of like changed probably over the last 10 years in terms of where it's affected me. Um, at the start, it was very sharp pain, like right at the top of my stomach. It used to like really like stop me in my tracks, like when it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Um, and when I had my first child, that was the reason why I had to have surgery to get that bit out because it was my small bowel. They were like, we just need to take that away. So once they'd taken that away, and I had the stoma the first time, perfect. I had it reversed. It seemed to go okay. Like the first like year seemed all right. Um, and then I ended up getting perianal Crohn's, um, which caused a lot of fistulas and fissures, and it was just very painful going to the bathroom then. And when you go in so many times a day,
So
it's yes, exactly, so painful. And then again, the mental aspect of like I know I need to go, but I really don't want to because I'm in so much pain. So it kind of changed like that. So it was like in my stomach a lot of the time. Then it went to my bottom quite a lot, and it was that which was the real reason of why I had to have the surgery. Um, just because it kind of switched because I think with Crohn's, what a lot of people think of is, oh, you get loads of diarrhea, you're constantly at the toilet. And it was. And then when I got the perianal Crohn's, it switched. During my pregnancies and then afterwards, I got really badly constipated. And I used to have episodes and honestly, it was the worst thing in the world. I used to need to go to the bathroom and I couldn't, but I had all the pain and the pressure of needing to go to the bathroom, and it just would not happen. And I remember being in the bathroom so many times thinking, just give me the bag. I need the bag back. Like, this is a nightmare. What am I doing? Like, this is no way to live my life, you know? Um, and it was just absolute living in fear of, oh, am I going to have another day like that? Am I going to have another day where I need the bathroom and I can't go? Because I had narrowing, and there was only so much the doctors could do. And they were like, it's that inflamed from the Crohn's that we can't fight it for much longer. So we can keep trying with the medication, but you are going to end up needing a stoma. Um, so yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. Towards Christmas last year, I was like, let's just do it. And yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, Crohn's it's so much havoc as at times, and I,
Mhm,
I've had fissulas as well, and they're
mhm,
horrible because say you want to go out for a walk and it's a hot day,
mhm.
and you don't have to walk for long and it's really sore, um,
Yeah,
and like but when you go to the toilet, it stings
yeah.
and it's
Passing
horrible.
glass, I used to say
Yeah,
the best way I
yeah.
could describe it.
Yeah, and it bleeds as well. It can bleed, so it's horrible.
Mhm,
It's a horrible feeling,
mhm.
um, and it's why like you can get them anywhere. It don't just have to
Mhm.
be down there, but there's a worse place to get it, isn't it? If it is down
Yeah,
there because
yeah,
it's horrible.
yeah,
Like why put it there of all places?
exactly. It's sensitive at the best of times,
Mm.
so, like, why, make it worse?
Yeah. Um. And yes, it's just annoying, and then you have to sit down, and that's
Yeah.
not.
It's awful, and feel like you're waddling everywhere, you feel like everyone's looking at you, even though they're not.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, even just, like, walking down, I was walking through Leeds, and I was thinking, "I am in so much pain," and I was like, I was, like, convinced, I was like, "Everyone knows I'm in pain, like, everyone knows that I'm sat here, like, my bum's on fire, like, I'm in so much pain, but no one knows except yourself." But then, when you try to sit down, if you're on a bus or on a train and you're like, "Oh, to sit right carefully," or yeah, it's not very nice.
you try everyone looking, and you got to sit this way. You're tilted or sitting weird, but it is it like I think we come to think well, when we have Crohn's, we learn not to I guess worry about if people what they think of us now
Mhm.
because of
Yeah,
how bad Crohn's can be. You just want to try and live your best life.
absolutely. That's that's it, and I always feel like things have happened for me in a very timely way. I know there's no real good time. It's never a good time to have Crohn's ever. But with getting this stoma, I feel like I'm at a good place in my life in terms of I've had my children, I'm married, and then I always think if I'd have had this 10 years ago when I was 20, how much different I would have felt about it. I probably would have felt like my life was ending, and just like of a social aspect of, because it's so kind of taboo. Like, you don't speak about it, you don't want people to know about it. But especially when you have a stoma, you think that everybody knows. Like, if you walk out, you're like, I'm sure everyone's staring at me. And I think at the age that I am now, I really don't care. And I actually, because I don't care, I don't think about it. Whereas probably if you're a lot younger, you probably do think a lot more about it. Um, and I think it's a big barrier to overcome the younger you are. So I feel very lucky to have had this surgery now when I'm in such a good place in my life. Like, I've had all my young years, but obviously there's people out there who unfortunately have to have this sooner, um, and they just get on with it, which is amazing.
Yeah, people just it's good how they just get on with things and don't worry about what
Yeah,
people think and just don't worry about it. Like you see loads of people on social media put on pictures of their stomas and that
yeah,
how much courage that has to do that
it's
kind of thing.
absolutely, it's so, confidence building seeing people do that. I'm still very squeamish about it. Even though I've got one, I can look at mine and deal with mine. But when I see other people's, I'm like, that's great. But I have to look away just because I am really squeamish. But I think it is good because it does highlight there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not scary. And, it's just a different way of going about your business.
Yeah. I just feel like it's nice that they do that, but like I'm like you. Like I don't mind. I think it's really good for awareness, but sometimes um like it's not the best way to go about things. But if people like to do that, it's good for awareness.
It is, yeah, it is good for awareness. It, for me, it's a bit, I don't know what the correct word is. Like I said, I'm very sensitive to those type of things. I will skip past it to the point where I can't see it, but I still think that they're showing it is great, and I would love to get to a position that I would be able to show mine at some point. But I feel like it's probably going to take me a long time to get there. But I do applaud everyone that does show them. The people that show their stoma bags, I think, is very, very brave. Um, Again, very empowering. Because it really does make it seem very common. Um, I followed a lot of accounts when I found out I was going to get this stoma, and it really comforted me because every time I was logging onto Instagram, it was like, oh, there's someone there who has a stoma. Oh, you know, they're just going about their day to day life. And it became normal. So that when I had it and I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm seeing what I see online because I follow those accounts. So the people that do it are fantastic because it really did make me feel more confident and comfortable with having it. And yeah, it was great.
It is good. It is good for people to do that, and like I think for anyone, it's like when you get diagnosed, isn't it? It takes you a while
Hmm.
to even
Yeah.
talk about it.
I think a lot of people know that they have it before they're diagnosed, so that when they're diagnosed, it kind of is like some form of relief of, oh,
Mm.
like it's being recognized. But then I think it still, yes, settles heavy on you. Like, right now I've been diagnosed. Now, you can tell people I have Crohn's and been medically backed up rather than just saying I have Crohn's and fighting for a diagnosis, which is quite difficult to get. Some people have to wait and fight with doctors and nurses a long time, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it is annoying. Like I think it took a while for me to get diagnosed in the sense of getting appointments because doctors, people were just delaying it. I wasn't thinking
Hmm.
anything of it. So I would
Yeah,
have had to fight to get appointments. Otherwise, it would have been the following year, I think. Or the
yeah,
yeah, it would have been so I got it. It was good because the amount of pain was horrible, like sharp stabbing pain and burning and
mm,
inside. So
yeah,
it weren't great, and get diagnosed, and it's good. It's good, and then you take something. I think they gave me steroids at the time. As we know, not the best. We don't
yes,
like going on them. We don't like going on them, but
yeah,
I was on it for a little while and helped with the pain. Um,
yes.
um, and then
Did
I
you have them
was
little prednisolone steroids?
Um, yeah, I think so. I think they were, and I went
Mhm.
to and then I was on infusion for a year. Then that didn't work.
Yeah,
That's the only medication that's got me to remission actually. And it stopped because of antibodies, and then I went
mm,
on Humira, and then I was
yes,
actually advised to start Humira first after for the first one before I had infliximab, but
yeah,
I wanted to go to hospital and get treated by people rather than because it was too soon. I felt when I was diagnosed, so I'm
yeah,
on Humira now.
yeah,
I've never been in remission with it,
yeah,
and I'm still not. But the reason I'm on it is because now because I saw my consultant the other week. So the reason I'm going to be staying on it is purely because I'm not in any pain or anything, and they feel if I was
yeah,
to be taken off it, it could cause something where some worse that maybe you can't fight back. So I'm on it still. I've been on it for ages for COVID,
yeah,
like before the pandemic and everything. So been on it for ages, and I don't like being on it. I like being on it because I'm not in no pain, but at the same time, like
yeah,
we said before. I don't like being on it purely because it dampens my immune system too much, and
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. They put me straight on infliximab, and I thought it was all going great. I felt fantastic. I think it was 20, 22, 23, and I felt great. And I got a phone call completely out of the blue, and I was at work, and it was one of my nurses saying, "We've checked your bloods, and your antibodies have built up a defense against the infliximab, so it's not working. So we're going to switch you to Humira." And I remember thinking, hang on a minute, like I ain't got any symptoms. Like I feel great. Like why are we trying to rock the boat? I feel fantastic with this, but I was like, you're the doctors, okay, like we'll change. And then I think since then it's never really gone right. I've had brief spells of remission and then back to square one again. And then I was put on Humira as well, and I changed again to ustekinumab, the Stelara injections, which was one every 8 weeks. So that's what I was on just before my surgery. So yeah, I don't know why they took me off infliximab. I kind of wish they didn't. I kind of wish we'd have seen how it went, but hey ho.
Yeah. Yes, it's annoying when someone stops because you feel like it takes a while for something to work, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel like I'm going on the next one. Like you've got to pray it works, otherwise we've got to try a different drug and then a different drug. Um, and when I knew it, I was actually pre-infusion, so I was actually doing the infusion when the antibody stopped working. So
Yeah,
the loading dose, I think, for 15 minutes before the actual infusion starts.
yeah.
I was having that, and I felt weird. I felt like the cannula was going to pop, or I felt like it was
Oh
going to
my
burst. And I said,
gosh.
"Something's wrong. The cannula don't feel right." And it was in right, everything. It's just what the antibodies. And then after that, I felt really hot. I felt really hot and everything, and I felt
Oh gosh.
and then that wasn't the first thing. I was struggling to breathe, so they had to stop the infusion, and
Yeah,
as you know, like each infusion goes faster if you're doing really well on
yeah,
it. And
yeah,
at this point, I've been on it several weeks. I think this was either my ninth or 10th infusion. And I was thinking, oh, it's my 10th infusion, 10th lucky, 10th not.
yeah.
um,
Oh
um,
no.
and then they did. I was thinking at that point, surely they're not going to continue this infusion now. We've got to stop it. But they
Mhm.
didn't. So what they did was really, really slow dose of it, and I was there hours longer, which I always look forward to
Yeah,
going home. When I have my infusion,
yeah.
I don't really like it because I don't like going to the hospital anyway.
No.
And like at that point, Jeremy Carl was on. Jeremy Carl wasn't anymore, but that's how long ago it
Um,
was. Jeremy
yeah,
Carl was on. Jeremy Carl was on, and everyone's watching it and everything, and that's a while ago. And so and then I had the consultant meeting a few days later, and we had said we're going on Humira now, so
yeah,
anymore. And yeah, like I know people who's been on it years, and like
yeah.
it's crazy how different everyone's journeys are. So things work for everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I have, I always think once I'm on a medication, like there's always a bit of hesitance in my mind, like, is this going to work? And I feel like the first month or so, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, this is great. Like we've clicked and it's all great. And then I seem to fall back into the same pattern. And we're just in and out of hospitals again, flare ups, anxiety, not being able to eat things. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that I'm off medication for now, because it was such a bugbear and I have such a bad memory. Sometimes I used to constantly forget to take my medication, and I was like, this can't be helping. So I used to have to put timers on my phone to physically ding me to go and take my medication. I just kept forgetting. So yeah, well, they're not great. I think it's awful having to take medication all the time.
Yeah, it's annoying, especially um because I have my own tablet box. I don't take as probably as much as many people. I'll take morning,
Yeah,
like not everyone in the world has breakfast, but I'd have breakfast in the morning, so I can
yeah,
have breakfast, have tablet, and then I have vitamin D. I used to have B12 injections, but I stopped them to just have
Yeah,
vitamin D tablets because much easier. Um, and yeah, I have them because of fatigue. Um, and yeah, I take like Humira every 2 weeks. Um,
yeah,
it's a bit better because I think in a way I'm glad the inflicted has stopped working purely because I can do the Humira at home. It's much easier.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Instead of having to travel out.
and it worked at the right time. I was on probably Humira a year before pandemic started, so I wouldn't want to have gone in. Imagine people out there who are on infusions and have to go to hospital
Hmm.
during pandemic. It must have been terrible, and I'm
Oh
glad in a
gosh.
way. Fate, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Fate it didn't
yeah,
work there, so I can do it at home. Um, but still, I don't like the injections. I don't like any. But I now,
yeah.
when I was younger, I didn't like any sort of injection. It was like blood test. But now,
No.
go for my blood test, look at it, watch them do it.
Yeah.
I actually find it interesting now, like just
I
watching them prick it in and do it all.
I still can't do it. I can't once it's in, it's fine. I just can't watch them doing it because I have really, really bad veins and they can never get the veins and they're always like trying in my arms, trying in my hands. And when I went for my surgery, they tried it in my left arm, couldn't get it. So she tried it in my right arm, couldn't get it. So then they had to go get a surgeon to come and try. He did it in my hand, couldn't get it in my hand. Tried my other hand, couldn't get it. So then he got what I can only look like a syringe, like, and he had this massive needle on the end of this syringe. And he goes, I'm just gonna go like in the middle of your forearm. And I was like, okay. So then he just puts this massive syringe in, and I'm not looking because I can't see it go in.
Mm.
And then he's fiddling a bit. I'm thinking, has he got any blood? Like, is there anything there? And then I look on like down at my arm, and he's just there pulling this empty syringe, and I'm like, my body's literally saying like, no, you are not having anything done. Um, and then eventually he managed to cannula me, get a little bit of blood, and then my body just stopped again. It was like, no, no more blood. And he went, oh, we'll just try it in surgery. So I thought, okay, at least I'll be asleep then.
Yeah, I mean, at that situation, I don't think I would want to look either.
No, it was when he just whipped out this syringe, I just thought, ooh, oh my God, how bad is this?
Oh, it must be a nightmare. Like whenever I go for any injections, I always make sure because they always ask, "Have you had any drink before you go?"
Yeah,
And I say I always have a liter of,
yeah.
juice or something. Normally about this size, probably a bit bigger.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and if they say to me, "I can't find your vein," I'll say, "You're not doing it properly then," because because if you can't find the vein, how have I drunk all this? What would be
That's
the
it.
point?
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
I do it, and normally they find it pretty fast. Um,
yeah,
I think it depends on how uh, good they are, and like
yeah,
I remember going through the infusions for the infliximab, and what would happen is sometimes they would come to you and they would say, "Can you have this trainee?" Like a trainee person would come in, and they'll say,
yeah,
Can this trainee do your injection?" And I'll be like, I'm kind, so I don't like to say no. So I'll say, yeah,
yeah,
go on. Go and do it.
yeah.
10 minutes later, she's still doing it. And then I end up having to say, um, sorry, this don't take this long. It's ridiculous. It takes
Yeah,
5 seconds, 10 seconds, really. And she goes across the room. She goes across the room. And old lady, and she does the old lady and she does it wrong. She does it wrong, and she
oh God,
she does it not in the vein, and it was horrible. And
yeah,
I just feel like I don't mind Chinese people doing it, but unless they can do it properly and they do it like you don't have to get anxious about it, just
yeah.
practice on the other people. That's what I think they should do. Practice on like your colleagues with them, and or because they've obviously done the dummies. That's what they do,
Yeah,
don't they? They go and
yeah.
do it at the dummies, not real people. If you want to do it on a person, it's better to do it on a colleague because it's not like it's not like
It's not a
uh,
person who always has to go in to get bloods done, and
yeah,
they're there for 10 minutes extra.
yeah. And I just feel like I'm glad like they've they've done that right. But there has been incidents once in hospital. I think it was once I had to go in hospital because I couldn't walk for some reason. Still to this day, don't know why.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
and it's weird. It was weird. One day I couldn't walk, and I was feeling like, why can't I walk? I was literally hobbling, and so, I don't know. So we went in to all the tests, and nothing was wrong. And then what made me walk out? This was what made me walk. They said to me, Mason, we're going to have to inject you in your leg because you're not walking. So basically to flow the blood. And I said,
Yeah,
that's fine. I'll try and walk. So me not probably walking now, just hobbling, just so I can try and walk. So I don't want any of that in me.
yeah,
Have enough traction as it is. And then
that's
we
it.
found, and then, but I think prior to actually going in, I had a blood test, but the person that did it, it didn't go in my vein at all. It's horrible. And
Oh,
and then I think I it was that bad. I didn't want to say anything, but I was crying. I had like tears out my eyes because it was
yeah,
that painful.
yeah,
And they didn't actually come and watch what made it worse in a way that the some colleague after it was done come over and said, "We're very sorry about the person who'd done your blood test. He's normally very good. He's like
yeah,
he's one of our most best uh blood test people." And then
yeah,
that makes it worse because I said like we
yeah,
said to us, we said we don't mind you saying that, but thanks for your apology, but it's not your fault. It's the actual person that's done it. So I
yeah,
guess they didn't want to do it because he probably thought we weren't going to be happy with him at all, which we weren't with him, but we probably would appreciate him to say sorry rather than someone else.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's just annoying not having all these tests, isn't it?
Absolutely, never ending.
Yeah, like having all these, but I guess you get used to it, don't you? When you have your currents.
You do, which is probably really sad to say, like, you end up getting used to it. I used to be so scared of blood tests and needles in general, and I've just gotten used to it now. When I was on the Stellara, I think that really panicked me because it looks like an actual syringe, and you can see the needle, whereas the Humira is like a pen,
Yeah,
or when I had it. So you just press the button, you don't see it, it's just a sharp pinch, and then it's done. But the Stellara syringes that you've got to like physically watch the needle go in, which I'm really like not great with. And I used to have to kind of psych myself up and think, right, Jade, if you do this injection, you can go and have that chocolate muffin afterwards. And I used to get
mm,
myself little treats just to like prompt me to do it. Like, right, if you have this, or I think it was my dad that said it, it was like, get yourself a treat and then you can have it afterwards. If you do that injection, you can have it. And it was the only way I'd be able to get through it. Just because the don't look great. But then, like you say, unfortunately, with Crohn's, you end up having just to, it becomes the norm. And then it's just one of those things. Then, like, oh, injection, oh, a needle, okay.
that's what I do. I have ice cream. I have an ice lolly after I have my injection.
Yeah. I've got this very sick tradition where if I go into hospital for a procedure, my reward when I come out is a Chinese. I get to have a Chinese for my tea. So it's like, oh, as tradition, I've been in hospital. I'm gonna have a Chinese tonight because I'm being discharged, which is awful, but it's the things that get you through.
What do you normally order from the Chinese?
I normally order fried noodles with sweet and sour chicken and a few chips.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
No, not
uh,
special, not crazy.
uh, yeah, it's always a nice treat when you come out of hospital because hospital food ain't great, is it?
I used to say I used to love the hospital food when I was in there, and people used to think I were bonkers. I was like, I loved it. I used to eat it so much. And then 2 months ago, when I had my stoma surgery, I was in for eight days, and honestly, that was the worst food I've ever had. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to go in. It's going to be great. I'm going to have all this nice food because it's been so great before. And it was terrible. I used to say to my mum and dad when they used to come and visit me, can you please bring me up some food from Costa? Because I can't eat anything in here. It's terrible.
I completely understand. Like I used to bring my own packed lunch when I had my infusions. They all,
Yeah.
but everyone else in there was having meals brought to them. Um,
I remember when I was in and I had my stoma reversed. I think it was my reversal, or I just had my first stoma in 2018, and there was a woman outside of me, and her family brought her in a KFC, and all I could smell in my bed, I was starving, was this KFC smell,
uh,
and I remember thinking, "Oh my days, that smells so nice," and I wasn't having anyone come visit me, and I thought I'm just gonna have to lay here and suffer with this amazing KFC smell. God, police should brought it in.
that's what they should be doing in hospitals now. Having not this little cafe. They should have all these little eating restaurants in it.
Yeah.
And then
I I did debate when I was in hospital thinking, "Shall I just get a Deliveroo up to my ward and then knock on door like, 'We've got a delivery here.'" I think they'd fall over and be like, "You've ordered a McDonald's." I'd be like, "Yeah."
like the hospital I go to now, it has a Costa and has a little shopping precinct um
Yeah.
in it, and it's all like these hospitals are now like shops. People go there for your shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only thing I love the chips actually in hospital. When I went, I make them go and get me some chips because
Yeah.
they actually did pretty nice chips, but everything else, like you got these
Yeah.
mash, and it just didn't look very nice that
It
people
was
eat.
awful. Yeah, I got very lumpy mashed potato and very watery gravy on one of my meals, and I thought, "What is this? This is dire. This is terrible." And then yeah, I messaged my dad like, "Can you please bring me up a cheese toastie? I need something. I eat this." But I normally really like it. Like people used to think I was so weird. I was like, "Yeah, hospital food, it's great. It's so nice." But my last experience was not very good.
No. Like it just reminds me of school food, and like I think the only school food I would eat would have been roast dinner, and I just remember the portion sizes were silly. Like you'd get one or two roast potatoes, two carrots, a couple of broccoli, and that's about it.
Yeah, we never really had that in my school. We just used to have what we called chip Fridays, and on Fridays they just served chips, and everyone used to just get chips and gravy.
Oh,
I don't know if it's just a northern thing, but we all used to like run to the canteen, like we need us chips and gravy. It's best day of the week.
I like that from KFC. You know, you get the gravy and the chips.
Yeah, and I think as well, like when I got when I got Crohn's, I was a big like I loved food. I loved eating. I used to eat so much, and then I got so skinny, and I used to hate it. I used to think I'm sick of looking like a 12-year-old and not being able to eat anything because I'm gonna be in pain. And I think that's where the anxiety came in. Like I could see food, and I was like, I really want to eat it. But I am so scared of the repercussions that's going to happen if I eat all this food. And I had such a love-hate relationship with it, and it was like, "I really, really want this." And then it ended up just not eating and going like a full day, and I used to get to like 8 o'clock at night and think, "I've not actually eaten today." I'll have to force myself to eat something, and it was usually a small amount because I was scared that the more I ate, the worse I was gonna be, like, the following day, which is such a joy now with this stoma. I've eaten so much. Pizza Hut used to be a big thing for me. I don't know what it was or why, but before my surgery, if I had a Pizza Hut pizza, I would suffer. I would be in the trenches the following day, like struggling for my life. And I had a Pizza Hut pizza a week ago and I ate it and I was like, this is unreal. I can't believe I've just eaten a Pizza Hut pizza because of all the past bad experiences with it.
So was you not in pain this time when you had the Pizza Hut pizza?
Not none whatsoever. I've never been able to eat a lot. Like my appetite's been very condensed. And I used to do this thing, as silly as it sounds, where if I had some food in front of me, I used to think, right, what looks good? Like, I only want to eat a few bites, but I'm scared people are going to judge me. So you used to think, right, if I try to eat half, then that's okay. So I used to do stuff like that. And then after I've had this stoma, I had a full pizza the other day, which I don't think I've eaten a full pizza in probably the last 10 years. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I've just eaten a full pizza. Like this is phenomenal. Like this is great. So
Awesome. Yeah, like for me it was kebab. But like I'd love having kebabs before. I had Crohn's and I'd have chili sauce put all over it.
yeah,
And I'd like have a drink every few seconds. People say I'm mad for doing that. But now if I had it, I wouldn't do that now. I would just put the chili sauce pot on the side and maybe dip a
yeah,
few chips in it.
yeah,
And just have ketchup on the kebab. But yeah, I hopefully one day I'll be able to do that again. Just have to
yeah.
put it all over again.
Absolutely. It really does feel I feel really weird with this surgery. I feel like I've kind of come out the other side. I know I'm not going to be cured and the Crohn's, may come back again, and I'm just kind of praying at the minute it's as far away as possible when that would happen. But at the minute it kind of feels like, yeah, I've come out the other side of it. Like I've had my Crohn's, yeah, I've got my stoma, but I'm kind of able to do now all that I could. I don't have any pain. Obviously, I don't have any toilet issues because that's all been eliminated. And I can start to eat the foods that I want to again within reason. There is some restrictions with the stoma, but generally, I can eat the foods that I wanted to again.
That's good though. That's good that you can
Yeah,
do that, and you're in a much better
yeah,
place than you was a year ago, or potentially 3, 4 months ago. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. But Jade, I hope you've enjoyed coming on the podcast today. It's been great to hear about all your story and
Thank
everything.
you. Yeah, it's been so much fun. I was so nervous, but you've not. It feels nice, and hopefully, yeah, if anyone can relate, and then they know that it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah. I hope so, because it's been a while since I've done a Crohn's episode. For a while, because I like on the podcast do all different things, and like you might do an episode about, don't know, a hobby or mental health
Yeah,
or um
yeah,
whatever happens in the world normally. I think
yeah,
like in a few months there's going to be a traitors episode. Like the series of traitors on the telly.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I interviewed someone that went on it, so stuff like that. So
yeah.
it's lovely. But before we go, Jade, is there anything else like you want to say, or like any advice for anyone else that has Crohn's, or maybe people who don't have Crohn's or anything?
I just think when you have Crohn's, it can feel very lonely because it's a very like unspoken about subject, and it's embarrassing. You don't want to be telling people the problems that you're having, but I really do think if you have a really good support system, you've got the right friends and family around you, then it is the biggest help you can ever have. I mean, I cannot thank my friends and family enough for all the support they've given me for the past 10 years. And I honestly, hand on heart, don't think I would have pulled through as good as I have done if it wasn't for them. So I think it's good to talk about, it's good to speak about, not to be embarrassed. And if you've got the right people around you, it will ultimately get better and you can absolutely live the best life you can with it.
Not always going to be doom and gloom. There'll be good days as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jade. That's some really good advice because it's completely true. Um, look, to anyone listening and watching today, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you like Jade says. We hope you can relate as well to today's episode and just in general. But yeah, I hope everyone has a nice IBD day and just a day, week, month in general. But yeah, thank you again to Jade and to anyone listening, watching today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, Jade.
Thank you.